Okay. Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and this is the Lifeboat. I want to welcome everybody this evening. Especially would like to welcome my bobble-headed partner, who is happily sitting on the other side of the glass. As you know, we gave you a little bit of insight into what Mark's been wrestling with here for the last days, and he'll probably share a little bit of that when I'm allowed to start squirreling. Let me see something here, people. Hold on one sec. I want to make sure that I have my squirrel equipment in place. Aha, there we go. See what happens? Mark leaves for a few days. I forget how to do everything. There we go. There you go. There you go. All right. So, a couple of things. If you caught this morning's video, I think everybody's on the same page in terms of exactly what went on here over the course of the weekend and the oh goodness. I usually announce over in the Lifeboat Facebook page that I'm going live. I didn't do that this evening. I've got to start to remember these things. But since I chatter away in the very beginning, if you want to share this, now would probably be the time to do it. But actually, Jamie, I don't know that you're late. Sorry, I just saw that from the squirrel vantage point. I think you're on time. Yeah, the Lifeboat definitely has shifted into a different gear, and we had done some talk over probably a month ago about the sort of transitioning this into a what would be a call-in show, and everybody loved the idea. It was something that everybody in the boat embraced, and it's probably something that is probably nothing. It's something that's going to be happening because of the nature of what we do, and because of sort of how it is already shifted, and because of the fact that we continue to grow. It's going to be a format that I think is going to benefit all parties involved. So I would be looking for some changes. I don't know whether or not we'll get it pulled off before the New Year's, or whether or not it's something that will be happening right at about January the 1st. But we are in the process of discussing this and getting it put into place so that we can take this to the next level. Miss V, I'm going to get back to what you just said because it's something that needs to be discussed. But I promise you it will be discussed this evening. That is something that I want to make sure that we address. So much so, I'm going to take notes. How's that? Okay, sorry. People. There we go. So if you saw the title of tonight's live feed, this is about resolutions. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking I'm a little bit early for the whole resolution thing, because that is something that we do January the 1st traditionally. But we are at that point where we're winding down 2021 and getting ready to slide into 2022. And a great many people around the world, New Year's resolutions are not something that is unique to the United States of America by any stretch. It is a worldwide thing. But we are coming up on that time where you're going to start making those resolutions. Obviously, when we get really close to January the 1st, it's going to be something that we probably discuss. And I'm sure people will be chiming in to say what their New Year's resolutions are and things of that nature. The reason that I'm bringing it up now is because there was a couple of reasons. Number one, the Lifeboat launched on the 30th of July, right? It was the Tommy Scoville show at that point, but the start of this whole journey that we're all on started on the 30th of July, and we're getting to the 4-month mark as a channel, which seems amazing, because of the number of videos and because of how much this place has changed. The channel has really undergone a lot of growth over the course of that, 120 days. We've gotten a lot done, and you people have shoved us out of the way from time to time and grabbed the wheel and helped, point this thing in the direction that everybody wanted it. And I think it's one of the reasons that the boat is doing as well as it is because of how you people have been as active as you have. So as I start to get toward the end of each month or the beginning of the following month, I kind of do this is where we're at as a boat. You remember last time I said, we were right in the ballpark. We were closing in on 2,000, and we had, I think, if you had run the watch time, consecutively, it was like 210 days or something of the channel being watched around the clock. And I, came out with some of those statistics. However, as I started to get ready to do that again, it occurred to me that, as we had said the other night, those numbers, although they've gone up a lot, don't really mean the same thing that they used to, because the report card for the lifeboat um, really is something that this weekend was the report card for the lifeboat. This morning's video is really the report card of where we're at 4 months. This channel and this boat and everybody on it, it has gone from being a channel to being something completely different. As I said last night on one of the live feeds, I don't remember if it was the first or the second one, but don't really consider myself a content creator. I may have in the beginning, but what we do now is so much different than that. What we do now is group therapy. I mean, it really is. And that does not make me a counselor per se. I think it makes me more like somebody that just brings a topic, very much like if you went to an NA meeting or an AA meeting where somebody gets up and there's a topic to get people thinking. And then, people in the group start to share. The number of people who came to the rescue, so to speak, or came to weigh in on the discussions that were being had over the course of the weekend were nothing shy of amazing. And so often, as is so often the case here on the lifeboat, what they had to say, the insight and the caring, there was advice being given. Brandon Galloway, 11 days sober. Well done, my friend. We're proud of you. Really, we are. That's awesome. But all of these people that were weighing in, it was so glaring to me that everyone was learning from everyone else and everyone was supporting everyone else. And it was just, I got emails from people that said, I can't tell you how much I got out of that live feed. They weren't the people we were talking to. They weren't the people who said, this is what I'm working on. I got tons of emails from tons of people that said, this was really kind of a life-changing live feed. Now, there are 3 people that I would have expected to get those emails from. Though they were not the people I got the emails from. It really has become, something that now as people share, they are doing so much more than helping the individuals who are asking questions, who are calling out. It's getting to the point now where the healing that is going on here is so much bigger and so much more important than what Mark and I do here from the front. So before I get rolling, because you know what, man, we can throw the script out the window. It's really not what we do anymore. And I'm looking down at what I wrote, and I'm not comfortable doing this at the end. Miss V, who by the way is the captain of her own destiny, she wrote a comment that her ex has decided to plead not guilty. And I kind of got the feeling that, that's something that might be, stressing you out. Number one, we're all going to be here for you. That's number one, always. But number two, take this from a guy that has done that. When somebody pleads not guilty, it doesn't always mean that they intend to take something to trial. Very oftentimes what it means is that they're hoping to get a deal. There have been many times in my life where I have pled not guilty, but as far as taking it to the box, it's not something I did. I pled not guilty a lot, but I always cut a deal before the time came to go to trial. So number one, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to go all the way to trial. And number two, it would be great if he did. I mean, it may be uncomfortable and all of that, but he would lose that trial. And in theory, we're not supposed to be in I'm sure it's going to trigger things. I am absolutely sure it's going to trigger things. But number one, we're going to work with you on that. You're going to come here. You're going to talk about it. We talked over the weekend at length about that refractory period, right? When something happens and you allow that to affect you for a period of time. What we're going to do is really try to make sure that the amount of time that affects you is as short as possible. And the nice thing is this, in theory, the government or the state or who's ever prosecuting you is not supposed to treat you differently if you plead not guilty. You should get the same amount of time in theory, whether you pled guilty but that's not the case. If you plead not guilty and you take that to the box and you cost them money and time and you lose, they throw the book at you. This is why 99% of people in the federal system plead guilty. It's because they know that, if the if it gets to that point where you're going to take that through to its final conclusion, you're looking at a lot more time. And maybe that's what the grand design was for this jack wagon, to get more time. But regardless, I think the takeaway from this, Miss V, is that you can't bottle this up. I think it's awesome that you came here and immediately talked about it. It's why whatever we're talking about tonight can sort of hold on for a second, because I think it's awesome that you took the time and were comfortable enough to come here and let us know that. Everybody is going to be here for you. I know it sounds easy when the guy at the front says it, right? It really does sound easy when someone else says it. And you know what, Jacob Forrester, I'm with you. Boy, do I wish I lived nearby. But it's one of those situations that it really is going to be how you react. And I know that this is going to be a trigger. And I know it sounds so simple to say it's how you deal with it more than anything else, how you allow this to affect you. He's doing this because he knows he will get lots of time. This will be his third strike. You know what? Right before we went live, my bobbleheaded brother and I were talking about third strikes. I can't tell you how happy I am to hear that this is his third strike. You know, that's awesome. That really is awesome. That means that he is going to be looking at some considerable time, and that would make a lot more sense. You know, because it doesn't sound like something that normally someone would want to plead guilty on. Truth says, that is true, Captain. Pleading not guilty generally is a first try at negotiations. Absolutely. However, being a third strike, it's also something that he's going to do just because what has he got to lose? If it's a third strike, he's looking at a whole lot of time. He may as well try to pray for a miracle he's not going to get. And I assure you that he is not going to get that. Jamie Watson says, I don't have any support at home, so I'm thankful for the lifeboat crew, and we're glad that you are here. People, I can't stress this enough. Coming here and talking about the things that are upsetting you and come here and opening up is the key to the growth that's happening. It's the hardest thing in the world. Oh, I love this. Seven Sun says, Miss V, you're no longer his victim. You're a role model. You are a hero. You are 1 month, 11 days sober. Wow, what a cool comment. Seventh Son, reach out to me. I'm going to need an address. If that doesn't get a sticker, nothing should. That is an awesome comment, Seventh Son. Miss V, I hope you heard that. That's Captain V, because she is the captain of her own destiny. I'm surprised you didn't know that. But he said, Miss V, you're no longer his victim. You're a role model. You are a hero. You are 1 month and 11 days sober. And let's not forget the captain of your own destiny. This jackwagon's going to get a lot of time, and he's going to be a memory. You're going to continue to do what you're doing, and life is going to continue to get better for you. And you're going to share this stuff here, and we're going to work through this thing as a family, because that's what families do, right? We have your back. And I know it sounds like an easy thing to say, and I know that it sounds like a cliche, but it isn't what happens in life. It really isn't. That's the key to every single thing we talk about ever. It's not what happens, right? The things that happen outside in your environment, you know, that's going to happen. It's going to happen to everybody. There's going to be awful things, and it's just the nature of life. But it's what happens in this outside. How much of this do you allow to affect what's going on inside, right? How much of your environment is affecting, your mental state. And that is something that we all got to get better at. I stink at it. I'll be really honest with you. I'm bad at it. But watch how I do this, Mark. But that brings me back to resolutions, people. We are coming up on the beginning of 2022. And there are people who are going to be planning those resolutions. I'm starting mine on December the 1st. That's the reason I'm doing the show now. And I'm doing that for a couple of reasons. Number one, why wait until the first of the year? If there's something that I really want to change, why would I just do that bad habit for another 30 days? I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And you guys can probably guess at least one of my resolutions, because as you know, I have issues with nicotine. Saigon Cinnamon says, I have 7 years, but I still need this group because I don't have a support system outside of the boat. If I can't do it, I know one of you can. We are stronger together. Amen, brother. That is an awesome comment, and that is the truth, people. It's like we talked about when we did the video about whether faith is required. Even if you do have faith, right? A power greater than yourself can be two people. Two people are greater than one. I don't care what it is you're doing. And if you've got a couple of thousand, right, or you've got 50 or 60 that are here every single day leaning on one another, that I assure you is a power greater than yourself. And as you start to face these challenges, this is the time to lean on that family. Miss V, it's good to stand up for yourself and not take that from anyone anymore. It's very hard to do when you are fearful, but living in fear is not a life. That's right. And you got a lot of people here who've got your back. So I'm going to put down the vape pen on December the 1st. That is the start of my New Year's resolutions. I'm going to start them a month early. Consider it a dry run of sorts. If by some chance I stumble, I still got January 1, but I don't see a point in my life. You do whatever you want. But in my life, I don't see a point of waiting until January the 1st to deal with habits that I need to deal with now. What is the point of me having nicotine for one more month? Doesn't make sense. And while I'm on that subject, I will be really honest and say that when the lifeboat launched, I was tipping the scales at about 190 pounds. I am not tipping the scales at 190 pounds today. Let us say it is considerably higher than 190 pounds. And the condition that I built myself into is gone. I unfortunately began eating with a business-like attitude, sort of going with the if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing thing. I'm not sure if I've been using it as a coping mechanism. Maybe I have. I'm not sure, but I've been eating an awful lot. And I went years, without exaggeration, cutting out bread, white rice. I sort of got rid of anything in my diet that was white. Didn't do a lot of mashed potatoes, didn't do anything like that. Starchy, high carb stuff was gone. I also didn't do sodas and candies and all of that. As I take a great big drag off of my root beer, right? So I am north of 220 pounds. So I don't need to tell you how far north, but let us say north. So I put on in the ballpark of 30 pounds and some change, and I'm going to lose that. I'm not happy that I put it on there. So on the Miss Herman says, "Oh, dear Captain, not waiting to start. You're preaching to me. I hear you." You know what? I think that's awesome. This gives you, if you're comfortable going this, I'm going to start working on my weight as well, says Jamie Watson. People, this is a great time. It really is. There's no reason to. You don't look it in the face. You must be tall. I'm about 6'2", but truth, the crazy thing is this. If you met me in person, my hands weigh about 25 pounds, right? I'm literally one of those people that just, I'm sort of large everywhere. I have really huge ankles. I've got really big, fingers, just everything on me. And as I put on weight, everything just gets bigger. So, watches don't fit right. Everything in my life just sort of gets bigger. It's not a gut thing. It's just that, but I'm uncomfortable, and that's got to stop. I'm not feeling comfortable sharing only because I don't know who is watching my page. I've shared a few, but I still need to be careful. Miss V, you do need to be careful. You do. There's no question. But I don't think you have to get into excruciating detail here on the lifeboat in order to tell us exactly what it is you need from us, right? You can come here and say just what you've said. He's planning on taking this to the box. And because of that, it's causing triggers, and that is a problem. Miss V says, "I'm not fat, I'm chubby, I'm thick." I am a person that just, when I was over 280 pounds, I showed you the picture. I mean, you definitely saw it in my face, but I didn't have a beer belly. Everything just gets bigger. I got to a point where, I was wearing about like a 43 for a pair of pants, where when I left prison, I was closer to a 34. So I just get bigger all the way around. But I have allowed myself, and this, by the way, all of this, all of the weight gain really has been in about the last, say, 12 weeks. I sort of got on a kick and just let everything go, where I didn't eat a lot of bread or anything like that. I just let it go. I'm a guy that can eat a cake and a loaf of bread in a day. Honestly, I think I did today. But so on the 1st of December, there will be no more nicotine. I will also be cutting out the lifestyle that I am doing. Donna Smiles, good to see you. I am cutting out the stuff that I've been doing, and I'm trying to get back to a target weight of 190 pounds. So I've got north of 30 pounds to lose, and I'm going to start that process. Also, as I mentioned to the people on the boat, when I get back from the trip that I'm going on, and you all know about that, when I get back, I will be acquiring the cabin pussycat. I will be acquiring a kitty cat for the boat, also part of my December resolution. I am, excuse me, sorry. I am always happier when I have a cat in my life. So there will be a cat on the boat. Jacob Forrester says, I'm fat, 280. That should be 210-ish. That is fat. I'm not going to call you fat, my brother, but I just read what you wrote. And yeah, I don't have a problem with people calling themselves that. I'm not a big fan of other people calling anybody anything. Truthfully, it's touche, pussycat. Well played. I like it. Saigon, well played. So that is my plan, people. My plan is to launch my New Year's resolution on the 1st of December. I'm not telling everybody they got to do anything. I'm never telling anybody they got to do anything ever. It's not what I do as the captain of this boat. I bring up subjects to make you think. So while we're thinking, let's talk about resolutions. Right now, going into 2021, or getting ready to end 2021 into the 2022 year, there are about 55% of the people surveyed here, just in our country, who said they think they're going to pull it off this year. 55% believe that they will actually follow through on their New Year's resolutions. Truth says, good luck on the nicotine. My uncle put down cigarettes one day and never went back. I tried the replacement systems, gums, lozenges, patches, vaping. Willpower's been hard for me. Hey, I've done it like 8 times. And I don't mean I quit, because quitting means you never do it again. But I have set down nicotine for very long periods of time, like the world's biggest idiot. I went almost 8 years without any nicotine. Occasionally a cigarette would get smuggled in or whatever, but nothing really over the course of 8 years. And then got out and started vaping, which is just as stupid as you can possibly be. Honestly, that was just such a bad decision. But I quit since when the lifeboat started. I quit for the better part of month and a half, and then one day just picked it back up. A little stress started to kick around, and used it as a way to fight stress, which is a bad idea. It's the whole way around, just a bad idea. But so as I was saying, 55% feel they will pull it off. 188.9 million Americans, that's adults, works out to be about 74% of the adult population. It plans to make at least one New Year's resolution going into 2022. Here is the list of the most popular resolutions for 2022. The majority of Americans are saying that health is going to be the number one thing that they work on in 2022. The reason for that is probably that they say the average person, because of the whole lockdown and everything that has been happening with the math, the average person put on more than 30 pounds during that whole process. So there's a lot of people that are talking about not just losing weight, but health in general. Second is self-improvement. So they want to be nicer, or they want to be, there's a whole big broad range that falls under self-improvement. Third is money. Surprised that wasn't second, but in third, people want to save more money. They want to be more responsible with their money. Any number of different things that apply directly to, management of cash in your life. Fourth is a topic that has never been on this list before. And I mention that because they did. But this is a topic that has never made the list before, and yet this year has popped up on number 4, and it is family. Whether that's spending more time with family, being more strict with kids, getting along better with your significant other, whatever the case may be, it is now 4th on the list of New Year's resolutions here in the good old US of A, followed next in line by love. I don't know if I'm happy about that. Seems to me that that's really far down the list, right? And then lastly is career. So for me personally, as I go into these resolutions, love is actually big on my list. I would like this year for love to be a focus in my life. Truthfully, I think that there are many opportunities for every person, whether you're on the boat, whether you're sober, whether you're not sober, whatever the case, where we choose one of a couple of different paths. And one of them is always love. One of them is always moving toward love, kindness, and the other is always going in the exact opposite direction. And I have been guilty for over 5 decades of not going toward love as often as I should. I've said this before, it really ought to be the default setting. Everything else should be, the other option. It should be what you do, first and foremost. Let's kill them with kindness. Let's just, be kind. And you know what? I'll throw this out anyway. I wasn't going to, but I'll throw this out. One of the other things that I'm going to do is this. I'm not going to allow things out here to do things in here, right? So I sit and I make advice. I tell people advice all the time. And one of the things that I say is, look, it's not what goes on around you. It's how you deal with it, correct? It's not the actual event. It's how you cope with the event. It's how you decide to allow that to affect you. So with that in mind, there have been many times in the last, say, 2 or 3 months that I've gone out of my way to go see things that were probably going to upset me, knowing full well before I ventured out into that realm that it was going to upset me. It's never going to happen again. It really does become quite simple, if you think about it, to sit down in your life and say, okay, where are my stressors? What are the things that are causing me angst? Right? So this, and this. Okay, well, how do they enter into my life? How do I even know that these stressors exist? How do I even know that if you can figure out exactly how you let into your life the things that stress you, in some cases, there's nothing you can do about it. If high on that list is my bobbleheaded partner drives me nuts, well, obviously, that's going to be a difficult thing because he's on the other side of the glass for almost every live feed, right? So that's not something you avoid. That's something where you sit down and you try to work it out, but you try to eliminate the problem. Now, fortunately, I get along beautifully with Mark. But if it is your boss or it's somebody that you work with, you can't avoid that. But if it's an ex-girlfriend, and every time you swing by her Facebook page, you feel like you're going to die and it just makes you grit your teeth and you get mad, I got an idea. Huh? Maybe you could just stop swinging by the old Facebook page, right? Logical. But as obvious as that seems, we don't do that. I don't. I go out of my way sometimes to go and look at things like that, where you're going to go and check out that that Facebook page or whatever. It's never going to happen again. I'm not going by that girl's page or whatever my stressor is ever again. Just plain and simple. That is the resolution. Jacob Forrester says, I've heard it said that the opposite of love is not hate, it's fear. You cannot be open to love, giving or receiving, without great courage. Do you not love the comments that Jacob Forrester leaves here, Mark? Seriously, I've been joking about this for a long time, but at first it started out as a joke. I have been taking screenshots of his stuff now for so long, and I'm going to eventually put a book together, and it's going to be called "Cool Things Jacob Forrester Said on the Lifeboat." And there was a couple of them this weekend that, honestly, I got half a dozen emails about one of them, probably more than that. I got a half a dozen the first night. Truth says, eliminating news and politics has done a lot for me to avoid the feeling of anger that would end up souring my mood. Truth, we did about, 4 or 5 videos about this, where we talked, absolutely, exactly about that subject. Like, why do we allow, knowing full well the news is going to drive you nuts? And, people say, well, I got to know what's going on. Well, then it's not news, right? We've talked about this ad nauseum, but it's an attempt to break us into two camps, right? And it doesn't matter if you know that there's a slant, it doesn't matter which slant, right? Even if it's the slant in the direction that you like. If you know there's a slant, well, then it's not news, it's propaganda, right? If you could find something that's just who, what, where, and when, and none of that, here's my opinion, and here's four experts who are going to say the exact same thing. And then you go two channels over and there's four experts saying the exact opposite. Yeah, I did exactly what you did. Broom it. I don't bother. Honestly, I avoid it like the plague. I might put a half an hour in on a couple of news outlets that really are more designed to just give you exactly what's happening. They don't have the the fair and balanced, this guy saying this guy saying that, and all of that garbage, because I've had my fill. So yeah, this year I'm not allowing stressors into my existence. Done with it. Done. Diddly done. Okay, so as I said, love was the second to the last on the list. Let's go over one more time. Health, self-improvement, money, family, love, and career. I ticked off a few of these, right, with my New Year's resolutions. Obviously, health for me was the big one, because I'm going to remove nicotine from my life, and I am also going to get back down to my male dancer weight. I'm going to get back down to a healthy 190 pounds and get rid of all of the excess weight that I have here that just does not need to be here. Hold 1 second here. Ms. V says, if I have to go to trial and testify against him, I'm wearing my shirt. That is the coolest thing I've ever heard. That is the coolest thing I have ever heard. And if that's the case, if that happens, I think everybody here should know about it, so that, if there's anybody even close, we can all, try to show up there and all wear our shirts and give them the blues. I'd be more than happy to do that. I think that would be awesome. I really think that would be cool. Ms. Herman Hill says, Fee, it's a struggle, but I'm hopefully getting another part-time job. Praying a little distance helps. You know what? Anything that people are feeling that you really want a little assistance in terms of positive energy, prayers, anything like that, you can bring it up here. We got a cool crew. There are people who are non-believers that don't have a problem with this. However, if you go over to the Facebook page with any of that, it really is. And I'm not saying don't do it here. Please don't misunderstand me, because I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is also, please do it on the Facebook, the Safe Harbor over there. That continues to grow. It continues to get bigger and bigger. I don't know what we're at, but it's way north of the 100 mark now. I think it's maybe 120 or 130 or something like that. But it just continues to grow each and every day, which is awesome. Absolutely awesome. So back to the resolutions. See how I did that? 73% of men intend to make New Year's resolutions, and 74% of women. So once again, we are coming up short. Absolutely coming up short as men. 1% less, which is doesn't surprise me. In fact, I would have thought that would have been higher. T. Prada said, what shirt? That would be the shirt that says "Never Quit Quitting" on the front. And you can see a lot of pictures of people wearing it over on the Facebook page. It says "Never Quit Quitting," and on the back it says "The Lifeboat Crew," which is written in sort of like a hot pink almost. Very cool shirt. It is called, and always will be, the Saigon Cinnamon shirt, because Saigon himself was the one that came up with the slogan that we ended up using. So how well do people do with New Year's resolutions? I have misquoted this for a long period of time, because I had heard that 75% of people quit in the first week. That is not the case. It really, truthfully is not the case. 25% will quit in the first week. So 75% are still chugging along after week one. And at the end of the first month, there are 60% who are still doing well. But by the end of the year, that number is 30% who say that they actually accomplished their New Year's resolutions. Sounds to me like a lie. I would be absolutely blown away if that is the truth, that 3 out of every 10 people who come out with a New Year's resolution actually are able to successfully be continuing that resolution at the end of the first year. However, I intend to be part of that 30% or whatever. My New Year's resolutions are starting in 2 days. That is now. I'm not telling you got to do that, but I would love you to think about it. I really would, because it makes an awful lot of sense. If you have a habit that's not a good one, and you're here talking about changing your life anyway, why wait another month? Now, I will give you that there are certain things like, there's a lot of meals that that come up in the holidays, but that's one of the reasons that I think it's important that I pump the brakes now, because I have the potential to put on another 20 the way I've been eating. And if I go into the holiday season just going turkey, pie, and sort of going that route, the damage I could do is incredible. My resolution is I never make one. It's the only one that I ever stuck to. This is awful. It really is, but I will say this. I used to say all the time, for years, when people would say, do you have a New Year's resolution? I would say, yeah, I want to do more drugs this year. Truthfully, that's what I used to say every New Year's. And it was, I pretty consistently kept to that resolution for decades. It didn't do me a whole lot of good, though, at all. Amy, good to see you. Very happy that you're here. So, people, this is the time of the show where I throw the microphone to the other side of the glass and turn it over to my bobble-headed brother, and it gives me an opportunity to squirrel. Although, because of what we've been doing, I've been squirreling a whole lot more lately. But, Mark, we're happy you're here. Are you feeling all right, my brother?
Yeah, I'm starting to feel better, guys.
Good.
Yeah, I just went through a pretty rough patch there. I'm not over it yet. I'm not really quite sure actually what phase I'm in. For those that don't know, I guess I'll give you a little short story. I know everybody was kind of wondering. Friday, it's probably about midday, I started feeling a little bit of pain in my left side. And I've fought kidney stones before. It's something I've dealt with since I was 12. It's been a lifelong thing for me, and sometimes it's worse than others. Sometimes I get them, pass them, don't even know I have them. The smaller ones. But what had happened was I had a stone that's 4 millimeters. It released out of the kidney into the tube between your kidney and your bladder. And for those of it that's ever had a kidney stone, you would think that wouldn't be the most painful time, but it is. You would think for a guy the most painful time would be the actual exit, right? Well, that's not really the case. You can exit things way bigger than 4 millimeters from your bladder out very, very easily. You don't even hardly feel that part of it unless it's really, really big. But I had one a couple years back that was right at 5, and it got stuck. It got stuck at that transition point between my bladder and that tube. And when it did that, they ended up putting a stent in, and they left it in for like 2 weeks, hoping that it would stretch it enough that the stone would go ahead and come out and pass, and it did not. So they actually had to do another surgery, went back in, blasted it, took a basket, little small basket thing, grabbed it, and it happened to me twice like that. And so it's kind of got me a little concerned because I don't know, they did a CAT scan, so I know where it was at when I left the hospital, which was just a little bit past right where it released. So, and my pain kind of started to tail off after that. So, hopefully it went ahead and moved on out. I can't say for sure. I don't know. Because you get a little bit of residual pain with that anyway, after the fact. So, and I will say this, that my pain is pretty much gone. Just to be honest, it's still there a little bit, especially when I flex my ab muscles and stuff like that. And I'm not going to get into too technical here, but, one side of my manhood was twice the size of the other. I'll just put it to you that way.
Well, something, just perspective, because this was awesome. Leisure Beast said 4.5 millimeters is a BB.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a little perspective right there. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Leisure. Thank you for that. He's right too. That's a lot.
It's a beautiful analogy there. It really is. I mean, it really put it, it gives people an idea how big 4 millimeters is. Anybody that works on machines, you've got a 4 millimeter Allen wrench. It's that thick, that kind of thing. But with the BB, it's smooth.
Right.
Kidney stones, guys.
Amy just said, looks like a Chinese throwing star.
Yes, they got spikes all over them. And so as they're moving, obviously they're scratching the walls of things. And, and this is a little odd for me because I'd never seen any blood in my urine. This is different. This is something I've not experienced before. It's kind of odd, to be honest with you. Because typically if I got that pain, I would expect to see blood in my urine very, very shortly thereafter. Never did. Now they did pick up some micro in my urine test, so there was some blood there, but most people keep some blood there anyway. I mean, it's just a natural part of what happens in your body. But yeah, and some other things kind of reared their head there too. I'm severely low, my hemoglobin. I've been fighting some fatigue and a lot of, if you guys don't know, hemoglobin is what carries oxygen throughout your body and your blood cells. It's actually what makes your blood cells red. So when you get low in that, and obviously, I started yawning and stuff and things like that. And I thought, man, why would I be going through withdrawal? That's kind of what I started thinking because I started yawning real bad and I was getting fatigue and I'm like, what the heck is going on? But they ended up being the low hemoglobin. So, I have to go see my primary care now and it's probably going to be a blood transfusion and the whole bit. It's just, I haven't been to the doctor in 2 years. And, it just ended up being one of those, situations that those of us in recovery really try to avoid because it makes it hard. You just never know what to say or do when you get around doctors. You don't know how they're going to treat you and all that, it just, and that's another whole big subject that we're not going to talk about tonight. But I will say this time I got treated like a person, not a number. So it really was kind of refreshing. And I think what it was is my doctor was young, was not from the old school. So they're actually, which is really, really, really good to hear that because I asked her and she, she's like, hey, they're teaching us this stuff now. This is something that they're educating people on it now. They didn't used to do that. It was up to the doctors to educate themselves on all this. So, without going into too much detail, it was definitely a different experience, but it's still stressful. Very stressful for people like us, especially because you just don't know what the right answer is. Because what's the first thing they're going to try to do? They're going to try to kill your pain for you. And she knew I wasn't in there doing anything stupid because when I walked in there, my blood pressure was 245 over 125. So
we shared that on the channel. So yeah, they knew that.
No, did I share that? I couldn't.
No, I did.
Oh, did you?
Because I was a little stressed out. Yeah.
Yeah, it really, my body was reacting very, very crazy to that. And obviously that was their main concern. They had to get my pain under control so my pressure would come down. So that's what they did. And they did a really good job with it and it didn't take them long, and after that I went and got a CAT scan, all those types of things, that we all go with the testing. They got to find out what's going on, this, that, and the other. Did an ultrasound and all that. So it's definitely something anybody that's ever had a kidney stone can definitely relate to what I'm saying because like Tommy said to me, before we went live, it is the worst pain a man could feel. Now I don't include women in that because you guys have childbirth and that's why it's just under that in my opinion, and of course I've never given birth, but I would assume that childbirth is a little bit more painful than passing a kidney stone. But I've also heard women say that, hey, it's about the same. So, I don't know. But regardless, it was a situation that I just did not want to have to deal with. And I actually, believe it or not, my pain came. I went and take a shower so I could go out to the hospital. By the time I got to the hospital, my pain went away, like completely. So within like 15 minutes, it was dinner time. Me and my wife went and grabbed some food for the kids and her. And on the way home, the pain hit me again. So it was like, man, so now I have to go out to the hospital and all that mess, and that's when that all went down. But I can tell you this, that I miss this boat. It is definitely something that especially when it's unexpected. It wasn't like a planned thing, like Tommy's going to be going, taking a trip here. All that stuff you can kind of prepare your mind for. You can kind of work things around. When something gets dropped on you, and immediately change your routine. It's a different thing. And I missed you guys. I mean, I miss all this. This is something that, and I did watch, guys. I mean, I just couldn't. I really didn't want to chat a whole lot because I didn't know how long I could hang out. There were times where I just had to go put myself in a dark room somewhere and just fight through some of the pain. And I didn't want to have to be, in a live stream and have to kill it because of that. And that's why I didn't come on and do that. But I want to say that what you guys did this weekend was awesome. You guys really, you really validate what me and Tommy have been trying to get people to see. And I really think that this is something that you just keep moving with it. And at this point, I don't think that me and Tommy can control any of it. It's taking its life. It's doing its thing. You guys are doing this. It's nothing. I mean, yeah, me and Tommy are facilitating it, but let's just be honest about it. It's you guys. And helping you guys, I think for me, and I could probably speak for Tommy here too, helps us. It gives us a sense of, hey, we're really helping somebody, and it's like we're doing a little bit of payback for all the bad stuff we've done. And not only being able to help somebody who was in the same situation as we were, and just be there for each other, and we talked about it multiple times. Dopamine releases come in a lot of different ways. Eat hot peppers. Obviously there's a lot of people here from Chase the Heat. You can do a whole lot of, helping people. That releases good chemicals into your brain. There's a reason those functions are there. God put it there for a reason. And, if you don't believe in God, well, it's there for a reason regardless. Nature, if you want to call it that. And I feel really, really grateful that we've been able to do that and to get that kind of response from you guys and to see you guys with each other. Even when me and Tommy aren't even part of the conversation that you guys are having. We can watch it and see what you guys are doing for each other, and it's so uplifting. It really is. I can't even explain it all. It's hard to explain how it makes me feel. And not to mention that I'm doing this with my brother across the screen here, and that's something that I don't think either one of us really thought we'd find somebody that close to how we felt about each other with being a brother. When I say that, I'm saying it that's true. That's not, I would treat him the same as I would treat my sister. I really would. He's reciprocated that back to me multiple times also. So it's just a really good thing for me. And I don't know that I would have been able to get past this kidney stone issue without talking to him in the background. There was, some situations that we talked about in the background. He helped me, give me, a perspective other than myself in the moment and helped me understand certain things. And I needed to hear it. And he was there to do that for me. And I see the same thing in the chat. And that's why I told you guys that. So you guys can understand that that's actually what's going on there. It's just amazing. So, but as far as resolutions, yes, do them.
There you go.
Do your resolutions. And, one thing I would say, if you're going to do a resolution, in my opinion, don't just do it haphazardly. If you're going to do it. Make an honest effort at it. Don't say you're going to do it and not even really give it a full try. Now, if you fail, that's a different thing, okay? But at least you're trying. Again, don't quit quitting. I mean, never quit quitting. I mean, we just keep saying that. And the reason why we keep saying it's such a great thing. It really does explain everything.
No question. And if you're going to do it, start with one of these things. As crazy as this sounds, there is much science that says when you take something from here and you put it down on a piece of paper, something magical happens in the brain. Truthfully, something that once we take something and write it down on a piece of paper, and you take it from something that you were thinking about and concentrating it on, and it goes through the whole process of going from there down to here, and you write it out, the odds are so much better that you actually succeed. For whatever reason, dreams are, become far more attainable when written down. And I mean, let's be honest, anything that you're hoping to accomplish in one way or another is a dream, right? No matter how much you, even if it's something small that seems insignificant, you're setting out to make something happen. It all comes under that same heading, right? It's the goal, the dream, whatever. When it goes from here down to that piece of paper, it may sound silly to you, but there's tons of science to back it up. So
Audibly
if
also.
you decide, if you decide that this is something you're going to do, whether it be December the 1st, and there's a few people who definitely chimed up that said, I like the idea of doing December 1st. Great. I will ride with you. For those of us who are going to do that, write it down. Just take the time to write it down. And make no mistake, you're welcome, Oculi. The honor is ours. Make no mistake that when you write it down, don't say, well, this is the first, this is the second, this is the third. Because when you start going at it in that way, don't number them. Because number 3 will be that one that you think, I can blow that one off. I mean, I'll really go after that first one. And the second one's kind of that third one. No, man, write them in a circle or something. So that there's not even like get creative. But I'm writing them down. And I saw a comment that, there were a few people who basically just view New Year's resolutions as, a waste of time or a pipe dream. You know what? Don't call it a New Year's resolution. Call it time to quit. Call it whatever you want. But trust me when I tell you that making the decision to stop a bad habit, if you think that that's silly, seems like an odd place to hang out. You know what I mean? We're kind of the land of trying to quit habits that don't really help you.
Yeah, I think probably most people that speak of it that way are probably just doing what I just said a minute ago. Just kind of nonchalantly making a resolution and not being too serious about it.
Right.
If you're going to get serious about a resolution, it's really what they're there for. I get it. Just like Tommy said, you don't have to do it. You don't have to wait. I hear so many people saying, and I think everybody can relate to this, diet. It's people say, well, I'm going to wait till Monday to start this diet. Yeah. You give it 3 days to think about it some more, then you kind of, you're starting to back off of it by Saturday, and then you're completely away from it on Sunday, and then it never happens on Monday. And that's, and I say that from experience, that it's not me taking a shot. That's just me telling you that, hey, I've done that. It's a hard thing to do. And, audibly also, guys, your brain actually will remember things certain ways. In your brain, when you hear it audibly, it takes it if you say it out loud 14 times, your brain remembers it. It makes, and that's the magic number for audible stuff. Now as far as making a resolution come true, it's like a daily affirmation. If you say it out loud.
Question.
And I do think it helps if you hear it, because you're not going to have somebody else say it. You got to say it yourself. It's yours. And that don't feel embarrassed. If you have to go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, say it to yourself. Who cares? But yeah.
Before I wrap this up, because we're getting on to that time of the day, a couple of things. People, you may have noticed that Oculi Mortis is looking blue. So we do want to congratulate him. I don't mean he's unhappy. I mean he's wielding a wrench. So congratulations, Oculi. We're proud and we're happy to have you here helping us out. It's a thankless job. You may be thanking us today, and it might not be the same thank you in a month. No, I'm kidding. But it's a tough job, and we really appreciate you stepping up and doing that. And then, people, I don't know whether or not I saw Stacy Michaels here this evening, but I got a little Christmas letter from Stacy Michaels, and with just a gift in it that is, for lack of a better way to put it, over the top in terms of someone that's just decided to try to support the boat in a way that was just ridiculously generous and humbling to a level that amazing. It really is. And I just thank you so much. Honestly, it's, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It means more than I can, I'm not speechless often, but this was, and thank goodness, right? It's be a tough job to be speechless in, but it's, you left me speechless, and thank you so much. It really means the world to me. People, we are at that time of the day where we say goodbye to one another, and then we go and do what we do. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, a video will be going up. I would like to thank all of you for catching the morning video this morning. Honestly, there was a great turnout to the number of people that decided to go and check that. And that means something when you're creating a video. It really does. When that number is high and it hits 3 digits and you go, wow, that's cool. And it makes you want to do them. You know, when there's 35 people that see it, you go, why am I doing this? So I want to thank everybody that showed up this morning and watched that video and left some comments. That is really awesome. It keeps the captain going. Stacy Michaels, she says, hi, everyone, just got home. Well, if you missed the thank you.
Say it again.
I cannot begin to thank you enough for the gift that arrived today. It was so far above and beyond, and it is humbling. It really is. I can't thank you enough. And you know what? I did so much better a job this time. You don't have to go back and listen to the first one because I didn't do such a good job. I did one of those, but you truthfully left me speechless. Thank you so much. It means more than I have the words. So between now and tomorrow morning at 8, when you are all going to show up and watch my morning video again, you have but one assignment. That assignment is to reach out and to try to save somebody. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass,
Mark Wages.
So good to have you back. Have a good night, everybody.